following is the views of MC and Jester. If you don't like our views, do not listen to our podcast.
Welcome to this week's Me Podcast You Listen with MC and Jester as they discuss the movie Halloween.
Alright, it's Jester here, and we're here with MC. You there?
Hello, Jester.
Hello, MC. How are you?
Good.
Alright.
It's good to be here on Me Podcast You Listen.
Me Podcast You Listen. This is something that we are just starting off, trying it out. And one of the good things about it is we have so much to talk about in only short time. So you have to tune in every week to hear our knowledge, and we will just share it with you on different topics from all over. One of the interests that we have together is movies, and we recently went and saw the new Halloween movie. MC over here blogs a lot about movies and writes on his personal pages. And so I'll let him start about this Halloween review and what he thought about it.
So yes, this was Jester. This was a good long-awaited movie to the 1978 Halloween movie by John Carpenter, and he was heavily involved in this, which was nice to know that his music was going to be a strong influence in this film as well. So.
When you say music, you mean the beginning of it when they played with the pumpkin and all of that?
No, just I think all this entire score was by John Carpenter, which all the returning, music with, the old creepy Halloween theme and everything. He was scoring the whole film, if I'm not mistaken. Well, I believe his son and another gentleman as well were involved in it. I don't want to do them disservice by not mentioning them, but it was collaborative. But John Carpenter was the main man behind the score on this one, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, he did the first two as well before it was rebooted and all that. The original sequel he did, which I wanted to rewatch again before this one, but I'll have to, whatever references I would make to that one. I guess I'll have to reserve that, until I rewatch that. But I liked it. I don't know. Have to get your thoughts on it as well. But I felt like the movie delivered. It was very brutal and grisly in some areas, and it was a different take. But they also threw a lot of nods into the old films that went through, I believe, H2O before the zombie remakes. And I enjoyed it. I felt like, if anything, it maybe lacked some of the sympathetic characters maybe in her daughter and granddaughter, but I know they got their due at the end of the film. And of course, we should always precursor this that anytime we're talking about movies, there's heavy spoilage involved. So if you didn't see the film, you probably shouldn't be listening to this.
By the time we get this review out, people probably have seen the movie because it'll come out after Halloween. But one of the things I do think about the movie that kind of pissed me off is that they kept trying to show his face. Like, they showed different sides of Michael Myers' face without the mask. And that kind of ruined it for me, because I really liked the whole character of just wearing that creepy, like I'm wearing a mask that your mother would wear to keep the wrinkles off her face kind of thing. And with it being that you could see him aging and how old he looked, and just kind of made me think that it just kind of took away the whole creepiness part of it. And then
I could see that.
And then they kept trying to show him.
I think it reminded me of. I think it reminded me of the Don't Breathe movie. I don't know if you've seen that. There was an older character in that, and I think a couple of the scenes from the side profile kind of reminded me of the villainous character from that film, being the old blind man from that film. So yeah, I kind of get what you're saying on there. It's the less is more. Don't, if you're going to show a profile is one thing, but yeah, but thankfully I don't think that lasted too long in the film, though.
Well, at one part of the movie, they showed almost his whole face. You could see it, but it was blurry. But you could see him pull up, and it just kind of took it away. Like, now there's an old man going around just killing people. I like to believe that, Michael Myers is some kind of like a fit, young person. But then I didn't really like the beginning of it either, when these podcasters are trying to do a review of murders, and they go and they basically yell and scream at him at a psycho ward, and everybody, it made no freaking sense. Everybody's all chained up in the middle of a yard in these little squares, and Michael Myers just standing out there, and he's like a dangerous killer, and they just let these two podcasters go in there and like, hey, you can interview him. Go ahead and go over there and get real close and scream at him viciously with a mask and say, answer me, you piece of shit. And it's like this antagonizing this serial killer, and then the movie starts. But I did agree with you. I thought they brought back the old school type of movie and brought in all the effects and made it look more like it was back in the 1970s, I guess 80s, and how they made it look pretty nostalgic, I guess. And
yeah. The movie succeeds, I think, in that regard of taking you back to the aura, I think, around the first film, which was much needed after multiple sequels that I think got away from it.
But it also had a lot of 80s stupid effects in it too, like Michael Myers is like hiding, and then someone sees him, and then they go run away, and they slip and fall, and then they're like trying to get up, but of course they're wearing socks on a wood floor, and they can't get away because they're slipping because they just shined the floor that day. And then he's like walking towards them, and then they're like, oh my God, get out of here. Ah! And then he just like stabs them. And that part kind of pissed me off, because at some point, we got to get to the point where, maybe all of these 80s horror movies, not everybody falls down every time they try to run and just has a hard time getting up. I don't know about you, but if a dude that's 7 foot tall with a stinking huge knife came out of a closet, I think I would just fly over the top rail of the balcony and just get the fuck out of there. I wouldn't want to stand there
chances.
And wait to die. Yeah. I wouldn't run out the exit.
I get that. I think with the the criticism with not just, I would say this one, but with a lot of them, was how many times a hero or heroine would fall down when Jason or Michael Myers or whoever is chasing them, and how cliche that would be, I guess, to still use that. But I try not to let like some of those any of those things bother me. If anything, the sympathy. Look, I always try to look for sympathetic characters, like opposed, like, because if you craft a Halloween like Rob Zombie crafted his, then you're left with almost like sympathizing with Michael Myers, and that's really not what we should be. We shouldn't be cheering his killings, unfortunately, but I know a lot of people do. But I felt like the one babysitter, I think in the scene you're talking about, who was being dragged from the wood floor, I thought her and the little kid in there had good rapport. I enjoyed that. Of course, they died. But I enjoyed. I felt like they did a good job.
Did he kill the black kid?
Well, no, the one kid, he did escape. I should correct that.
That's right.
She died, of course. He escaped, so maybe they'll have him in a sequel. Maybe. My biggest complaint of it, is maybe future Strode. Girls, the daughter and granddaughter, they weren't sympathetic. I didn't really care about them, really, to be honest with you. I don't think they did a good job getting me to really care. I mean, she was kind of a, I'm sure we're going to swear on this podcast. The daughter was kind of a bitch. She didn't realize her mom, was helping her until the end, where she had to shoot the gun and shoot him. And then the granddaughter, I don't know if they showed her a little sympathetic to her grandmother's, PTSD, but I don't feel like I really, by the end, I really didn't, care about either one of them. Obviously, we have a lot invested. We got a lot invested in the Laurie Strode character and Jamie Lee Curtis, but for her offspring, not so much. But I felt like they did show the continuous footage was good, where he would enter the home and you're kind of following that. I felt like they did a good job showing a lot of that. One continuous shot. A lot of that stuff was very well done cinematically. The movie was very well done artistically. I think the scene you're talking about at the beginning with the sanitarium, I think that was probably a little more dramatic than it needed to be, I think, for a creepiness effect. But I think at the end of the day, when we're talking about the spoiler of the doctor kind of being behind letting him get too close to Michael, him possibly being the one that crashed the bus. Although I read one theory or listened to one theory that it could have been Laurie Strode that kind of caused the bus wreck, which I thought was kind of a twisted theory on that. Like she let him loose basically so she could kill him. I think if that was revealed to be true, that's a little bit out there, little crazy theory, but I'm pretty sure the doctor was behind that. And, and that was a little, an interesting twist they did with that, but he obviously got his in the end.
Well, the one thing also too is I always think about these movies is how fast Michael Myers can move, even though he's walking, because no matter where they ran all over the place. They ran like down the street, through a house, across the corner, and they always end up. He had a shortcut, like he knows the place better than them, and he could find his way to a bush or something. Then they would run, thinking they lost him, and then out of nowhere he just shows up and stabs them. So that's another thing. I think that the realistic part of it is either these guys are going to run because he always walked and he always caught them, and so. I think horror movies in that aspect too, they did the 80s twist again, where no matter where they ran, this guy was always there. And then I also thought it was funny in the beginning of the movie when he needed to get a weapon and he was using like different things. And then he finally came upon like the biggest butcher knife you've ever seen in your life. This lady was using it to cut up like a tomato, and he shows up to get it. And he's like looking like he's looking for the perfect knife. Like he's a knife connoisseur all of a sudden. He's like, let me find the perfect knife for this movie. And then I'm just going to wander through town looking very creepy, and not one person is going to question my motive here. I'm just going to wander through Halloween looking like a creepy, dirty killer with blood all over the place. And, that's another thing too. He's never got blood on him. His whole little jumpsuit never had blood on it once, and he just hacked people up. So he's a pretty clean, clean killer.
Being so quick and having those ninja skills you spoke of doesn't mean he just, couldn't, get to the sink really quick and wash himself up. So he's
true. Yeah,
he obviously not even more suspicious than he was walking around in the first place. Yeah, I think we could break it down probably till everything is. I think at the end of the day, if you were entertained or not is the main thing. But yeah, there's going to be a lot of things that probably aren't going to be realistic, which to me, I think that's the good thing about this goes back to the creepy, somewhat supernaturalistic nature of him, even though he's been locked up for 40 years. It's better to refer to him as the Shape, as he's the embodiment of evil. It leaves a lot more mystery, and I could see your point with unmasking. Give us more of the mystery of whether this man is being naturally enhanced than the fact that, here's this 60-some-year-old man walking around on a killing spree for the second time with people not, with the cops not getting the word out like they should again, allowing more needless, killings until, they could finally catch him again,
Yeah.
So, yeah, you got to kind of suspend your disbelief on a movie of this nature.
They have a bus full of serial killers, and they only put one armed guard on there.
Well, I don't know if they're just, was it all the dangerous, psychopaths from the sanitarium being transported, or was it just everybody? I don't remember that specifically, because I know they tried to deem. Yeah, I know they tried to deem him, not much of a threat anymore. But yeah, I mean, it would make sense to get an APB out right away. You got a bunch of loonies wandering the highway at that point.
Yeah, that part, they were just wandering around, and there's only like one cop on the scene, and they're like, hey, what's going on here? These guys are, hey guys, and the guy gets out of the car to go help him, remember? And he's yes. Hey guys, what's going on here? Huh? Hey, are you guys okay? I'm thinking, no. I think I would have just sat in my car and called someone else. I mean, there's the cell phones now. Everybody has cell phones. I don't think I would get out with that.
Yeah, quick call to saying, hey, 911, we got a bunch of loonies wandering the road here. You might want to get somebody over here because I'm driving off.
I'm leaving the scene.
As fast as I can. I'm driving away from this. This is not going to end well.
And they did kill a kid.
I don't know. I mean, that's right. He was one of the few. I know that that's not in this age of sensitivity. They don't want to talk about child killings or anything of that sort. But yeah, he met his demise, and